Hey, welcome everybody to Friday Night at the Crib. Uh, please feel free to join us. There's a link on the right-hand side. We can talk a little bit about VXP weekend. I think the more interesting thing is the changes to the TAC modules and what people are doing as far as preparing for the next raid. And just because I've seen so much of this stuff on the forums and Facebook pages, you are only taking damage. You're only getting VXP for damage taken in the VXP targets, as far as the 100 and the 55s, because I've seen way too much of that posted. Because this is working almost exactly like it did last month, except for you require more VXP for the flagships. So before you could get away with getting hit 3 times and killed with a triple salty, with the normal Hydra and normal Buccaneer, but it requires 4 now. So we go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right. Good morning, Toxic.
G'day, how are we all?
Pretty good. And back from partying with, I'm not even sure who now, but it's the Holsch.
Howdy, everyone.
And it's Magic Mike.
Happy VXP weekend.
Very good. And our purple friend is the Grimace.
What's up, everybody?
And this is Hefe. And Daniel is, I'm not sure. He was here earlier. But again, everybody feel free to join if you got any questions to ask or anything you want to say. How's everybody's, I guess we have to start with the VXP weekend. How is everybody's going? Is there any issues? It's very similar to, well, the actual VXP targets are the same as last month. Oh, and the other thing that I should mention to everybody, if you have Cannoneers, you don't have a lot of lag, you should be able to run through the 100 targets and get 30,000 or 10,000 VXP tokens. And that becomes Grimace, are you out drag racing? It sounded that way. But
sorry.
It's okay. I'm sorry, that threw me off a little bit. But yeah, with the Cannoneers, if you don't have lag, you can run through these targets and get 3 times 10,000 VXP tokens for your defenders. And also, I've seen people that are running through with trying to rank up their finish the rank on their Buccaneers, and are able to get through 3 or 4 of them with their Buccaneers. They seem to be taking more damage than the Cannoneers, sans lag. So it's a good twofer if you can, you could run through if you want to rank up your Buccaneers and also collect Defender VXP tokens. It's a good combination. So I guess I'll throw it to everybody as far as how they're doing and anything I didn't cover that I should have as far as VXP weekend.
I'm kind of glad they left it the way they did last time. I thought that was actually a pretty good way to rank these things. And then especially being able to, if you are able to do that laggy target, to collect some tokens for your defenders. I'm glad they left it the same.
Yeah, because otherwise it would be really difficult to rank up your defenders.
Yep.
Since most of them don't move anymore.
And this way, with some good time management, you can do it over a couple of days and not have to spend a lot of coins.
if you plan and prepare properly.
Correct.
I'm still seeing people that they don't understand that, or maybe they do understand and don't care. But you know, if you roll and try to get some, damn it, sorry, try to get some silver salties, and you know, it takes what, 3 hits on a Bucky's fleet, 3 hits on a Hydra fleet, and then the flagships are, I think, 4 hits to get them fully skulled. But if you plan that properly, I mean, if you're only doing 1 fleet, that is, I guess you can slow repair and get them skulled. If you're doing more than 1 fleet or something else, you know, you may have to spend some coin. But as beneficial as rank is, because they tune our targets, you know, for fully skulled fleets, or at least close to it, it makes a lot of sense to maybe spend a little coin, spend a little extra time, whatever you have to do to get your fleets ranked.
Yeah, and Mike, yeah, and the other thing is, if you are running into that situation where you have, I'm not sure what all the noises are coming from, but if you do run into that situation where you have multiple fleets, you could use your grease monkey if you have them available, which it says it only lasts for an hour and a half. But if you have a 9-hour repair or a 10-hour repair, as long as you don't mess with that that compartment in your dock, it will continue to work and split your repair time in half.
Yep, that's what I did. I have
time.
all the Hydras to do, plus the lead Bucky. So I actually have 6 that I need to repair. So I put it on the grease monkey with until the first one got repaired, and fortunately it was within the hour and a half by a couple of minutes. Switched out the other flag, then put it in there, and now it's it'll finish it up with 1 go.
Okay.
And for those people with the boon, if they kill their whole Bucky's fleet, they can come back into the base, repair their boon, put a little bit on each Bucky, take it out and hit a Sal fleet, and then heal their regular Buckies back up. And by doing that, you're actually going to reduce your repair time for that whole fleet, because the repair coefficiency of that boon is better than the other Buckies.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, it's a good point, Grimace. If you have both and you need to rank both, which I didn't bring up because I'm not sure how many people are in that category. The as far as the amount of health, the boon, I think, is 8. It's going to repair 8.3 times faster than the normal Hydras. Then you have a 95% repair efficiency, so it's still okay. You're down to 8. You're still repairing it 8 times faster. So it's definitely worth using.
And I don't have the what is it, the Mercy CIC. I don't know if that works the same way. So if people can do that with their Hydra fleet.
Yeah, you have to have the Mercy in order for the Blood Hydra to use a reconstruction matrix, as they like to call it.
Yeah, so
sharing health. Go ahead, Grimace.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying, so maybe if they have a situation where they're doing both fleets, then that would help them speed it up and not have to spend as much money.
Yeah, I agree. That's the way to do it. I mean, if you've had time to put it on, it's 20 hours, and if you're going to be coining repairs, repairs in order to do this. You might be better off if you're willing to grind and spend a little time. It might be better off spending that time putting the Mercy on your Blood Hydra, if that's what you're planning to do but look at the timing and look at what you normally spend and whatnot. It just might be a smarter way than just straight up paying for repairs, is to get the siege or the Mercy CIC onto the blood hydra to again, it's only going to heal your other hydras. It's not going to heal your buccaneers or anything like that. But it's if you're willing to spend and if you're willing to spend for repairs, take a good hard look at spending it on adding that CIC on, as opposed to doing that and sort of semi-grinding it out. So, hey, George.
What's up, guys?
Hi, George.
Oh, you missed it earlier. We were
Yeah.
still blaming you for the Shielded Tactical System 3, but, you know.
Awesome. I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not using any of those things on my Buccaneers at all. The hell with that crap.
Yeah,
So-
it is. Go
Fixed
ahead.
or not, it's not.
Yeah. Go
Oh,
ahead, Grimmett.
I just noticed today that they actually lowered the tack field resistance on that new, I forget what it's called now.
Insulator resistor or whatever it's called.
Yeah, so like original, I saw the report or whatever when it first came out about the update, and so I thought it was whatever 50% or whatever it was, and now it's like I want to say like 38%. Yeah,
35. Yeah, it makes it so. You weren't watching the show, Grimace?
apparently I wasn't.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, when it was originally released, it showed at Retro 1 or Retro 0 that it was at 50%, but I guess that was in the world where R16 exists, because in order to get to that 50%, it needed to be at R15. So now it gets up to 50% if you are, in fact, at R15.
Gotcha. That makes more sense.
Yeah, because it would have gotten it up to, I think, 61.8 or 61.9, somewhere in that neighborhood, based on what was originally released to us in the briefing. So, hey Ed, how are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
So
I got a question for you.
sure, shoot.
Did I hear you right? If you have a yeah, drawing a blank now. The ship to
The boon.
No, the crew to speed up your repair.
Grease Monkey.
Oh, the grease monkey. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a grease monkey on a fleet of ships, that when the grease monkey expires, it will continue to heal those ships at the same rate.
As long as you don't stop it.
As long as you don't go in there and start repairing something else or interrupt that build. So basically, you consider that crew and that until its job is done, or you interrupt its job, it's going to continue to repair at twice the normal rate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
okay,
but don't go in there and start micro repairing something. You know, if you're doing the FM, don't go in and repair your Zel. You know, take 2 minutes off your Zelos, because now you've lost that ability. Once you interrupt that build, I'm sorry, if you interrupt that repair, then it goes away. Then it's expired and no longer will work.
Yeah. Once the crew expires.
Yeah,
So-
once the crew
so-
expires, yes.
So you have to put for instance, you got say 5 canoes you put in there. You start it with that fleet and it continues, or if you swap out, like the what's his face was saying, at the last couple of minutes he was able to put another ship in there and start it, and then it was still good.
Yes, correct. As long as it has not expired, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. But if you, after it's, like you said, if you only have a minute or 2 left, don't mess with it anymore. Just put in the maximum amount of ships that you want to get repaired. And it'll continue going until you mess with that repair queue.
Did not know that.
Okay. All good. Hey, G Daddy, how are your Punishers? All right. I guess he's on mute.
Yeah, they're working well.
Okay, cool. So George, you're not going to deal with the anything that deals with tactical field resistance until they come out with a public statement, or they can prove that it's not fucked up.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Are you not going to put anything on your raid ships?
No, I got my raid build done. I know what I want to do. I just
No. But what I'm saying is, you're not going to do anything with the tactical field resistances until they come out and clarify things, or you can prove that it actually works. You understand the difference? You know, the issue that we saw with the tactical field resistances in the last raid.
You mean with Siege Battery itself, or?
No. I'm talking about the STS and the insulator.
No, I'm not going to use it at all. I mean, Ren used it in the A sets extensively, and he only saw like about a 10% increase or a 10% benefit from it, and it's not worth 2 days of that, and then losing some of the other special setups that I want to use. It's just, to me, it's not worth it. But then again, I'm also building to try and auto, so you know.
Yeah. Okay. So, should we clear out the VXP weekend talk, or anybody else have any questions or advice?
So essentially, I kind of got on here late, but essentially the hundreds are the same as it was last VXP. Except for if you can destroy 100, then you get the bonus 3 days tokens.
3 times 10,000, and that's the same as it was last time. If you can if you can kill the 100, you get 3 times 10,000 Defender VXP tokens, and that's the same as it was last time. The only difference that I've seen is the fact that the flagships require additional VXP that the base ships don't. So the Blood Hydra and the Bucky's Boom require that with a triple salty that they get killed 4 times in the target, as opposed to your normal ships only require 3.
Okay.
But I think they're dealing out the same amount of VXP that they were last time around.
Going back to tactical systems, Hefe, aren't they added more tactical systems now to the 1 second repair thing?
Well, there's one in the FM, which was released in an odd way. It was released at we just talked about this, but it was released showed 0 retro, but it had 50% tactical field resistance. Yeah. But in reality, that was R0 had a R0 has a base of 35%, but once it's R15, then it's up to 50%.
Yeah, I didn't mean that though. I meant they've added more, like the ECM and that now has all been added to it with a 1 second changeover.
The ECM?
Yeah, you know, on tactical systems on base.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah, they've all been added to it now, haven't they? All tactical systems have been given the 1 second change around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. If everybody's done with the VXP weekend, and then we can move on to the other stuff. But yeah, that's on the next the next category of things to talk about.
I haven't done my VXP yet, so I'll let you get on with it. I'll just do it.
Okay. So is anybody? Are we done with VXP weekend? It sounds that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to what G Daddy was bringing up. I have noticed personally that there are, when I talk to one of the GDs, he says it's a graphical issue, that you're able actually to exceed graphically what it shows when you take a look at your turrets and look at your tactical installations, you're able to exceed the numbers you're supposed to get based on this update. Because in theory, as far as your damage numbers go, just using fire support. Okay, is that host or is that Mike? Who's eating again?
Not me.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Because we get complaints about people stroking their beard as far as the noise goes. These people, I don't know where they're listening. But
I'm surprised you heard that.
Yeah, I'm not. But yeah, because supposedly people are hearing people stroke their beards, which is a little odd, considering, you know, whatever.
They got the volume turned up way too high.
Yeah, that's my guess. That just threw me off again. What was I talking about?
The
Graphical error.
Tactical
Oh,
system.
the graphical error.
Yeah.
Yes, in theory, by just, you know, there's an OR cap of 5 on fire support 2, which is 5 times 15, which should only get you to 75% damage increase, assuming that you have 5 of these fire support turrets overlapping on a single turret. Then you have the OR cap of 1 on fuel air emissions 2 and 1, and I think we've talked about enough about this as far as 1 and 2 of anything with the same name do not stack. And so that gets you to a maximum of 95. I was seeing numbers of, you know, in my base, I was getting numbers like of 115 for my explosive and 95 for my my other damage types. And I've been told that's merely a graphical error. I didn't get any feedback on whether they plan to fix it, because I told them I thought this makes it difficult for people to design their bases if they don't actually know what
The real
bonuses
numbers are.
they're getting. Yes. And I didn't get any feedback on that part of it, but it would be nice if they fix it. But there are instances where these numbers will not be true, which is a little, you know, expected, I guess is the word. But how is everybody doing as far as, or what's the strategy besides creating a balance between splash dispersion, defense types, and damage and reload that people are using when they're refitting your bases? Because you don't have to pay for this with base parts anymore. You can play around as much as you want. You can spend hours playing around and figuring out what changes you've made to your base. And I'm signing up Host as one of those people that's probably done that. I could be wrong though.
I spent hours redesigning my base, but nothing much with the tech mods.
Okay. What is your general theory when you're doing it?
Just make sure and keep all your splash. If you're using splash dispersion on your island, make sure that they're the ones closest to your fleet, because those are only specials that really help your fleet any. So, and if you have the combined defenses on your island, then keep those to the back away from your fleet, so you can help it actually.
Okay.
I notice part of it has to do with the range of them too, as to where you put them. Having certain turrets or certain warehouses and stuff that have a longer range, you can set them back a little bit, and then put the ones that have the shorter range in front of them, and work at it that way also.
I've also put not the ECM, I got it wrong way around, it's EMP blast. I've put them on my warehouses and left them in my channel, so that when they come from my warehouses, they get stunned in there and then get splattered by me mortars over top in channel.
I'll leave somebody else to comment on that, because it's I'll comment on that. Your warehouses are much better off used on your center island, because that's the only thing that fire support The Fire Support 2 also provides a reload bonus. So it's, at least personally,
I'm also using
Personally,
the thingy though, the fuel air munitions as well on the warehouses for mortar critical chance, for 20% mortar critical chance. So I'm using it in the island itself where all mortars splash. And apart from the base sucks anyway, FA, so I'm not bothered. I'll live in a bubble the rest of my life like I have done all games.
Okay.
But you can also use oil rigs with the EMP on them. That's what I have in mind, is the oil rigs in the water.
Yeah, that's good thinking. I just felt like having too many bloodthirsts about, but although they're not using that many ships now with bloodthirst on them.
Yeah, and people should take a good hard look at, before they rush along and do things that, well, this is a good time to learn, because you know it doesn't cost you anything to make a mistake quickly and then turn around and fix it again. But the advanced lab and the naval lab have, and the outpost. But the naval lab and the advanced lab, I think they're the ones that are the best to use your protection ones. You know, your rad protection, not your rad protection. That one's different, but your explosive deflection or explosive protection and whatnot. They get bonuses. It's 50 as opposed to 20 or 30. There's some bonuses associated with certain buildings as far as putting certain tactical modules on them. And now is a good time to mess around with it and look at it, because it's only going to cost you a second to fix it. But I would look at it. I would look at it hard and try and, in the next 10 days at this point, iron out these tactical modules in your base.
See,
Do they take base parts from you?
No, they don't take base parts in anything until it exceeds 5 minutes.
I don't think they take res as well, do they?
They what?
I don't think they take res either, do they? They're just like 1 second to build and that's it, boom, done.
One of each res.
Yeah, it's minimum.
One of each res, that's it.
So much.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, see, I've listened to the show while I was working. I was in the truck, and obviously I didn't hear everything or didn't fully understand it when I was listening to it because I was talking to a customer or whatnot. But I was under the impression that you've got 10 days to fix your base now. Now, I went straight home with a big smile on my face and tried to put the first turret on for 1 second repair. Well, that don't work.
Oh no, it's only systems.
So I thought, damn it, it's not working, you know, what's going on here? So then I tried something, I tried a few specials and only certain specials will work.
And it's all of them now.
All the specials.
It's all the tactical modules. It's not the transformers. It's not the transformers, but the tactical modules will work.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 that are, you know, if you have a level 9, there are 3 going across the middle. Those will work. You can't put new turrets on. You can't put transformers on. But all the rest of it, and you can't, armors don't work either. It's just those. It's just the tactical modules going across.
Yeah, maybe there's something wrong, but I couldn't. There was only certain modules that I could put on. There were certain things that I couldn't. Maybe there's something busted or whatnot.
May depend on the building.
No, they had
certain buildings wrong.
They've done all tactical systems now, though, aren't they?
They had to fix a couple of the specials. They weren't allowing for the 1 second whatever build. And they put up a thing on the forum earlier that they fixed. I think it was two of the items. One of them was the EMP, and the other one was I don't know what. So maybe that's what you were having problems with, Toxic.
No, I was. I've got the ballistic recoil suppressor on one of my turrets, and I was going to swap something for atomic focus, and that costs.
But that's a special.
No, that's specials. It's just tactical systems, the ones that go in the orange.
Oh, it is too, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They've actually, like I was saying just then, that they've put all the tactical systems in there now for just 1 second.
Yeah. What an idiot.
get it sorted.
It happens.
That's why I got a crappy base, see, because I don't even know what a special and attack module is.
Yeah, it was confusing, and I you know, as we talked about on the ones you know, the previous show, was the fact that they should have told us 2 weeks before this actually happened, just so people could figure everything out.
Yeah.
And try to plan changes to their base guard and, you know, things that you were trying to do, Toxic, you know, change your actual turrets.
Yeah, but
and give us time.
I didn't even think about it until you just mentioned the attack module and special modules. It's different.
It's the ones, for example, Toxic, like the overload reload mechanisms and the
I realize that now. Yeah, it's just when I went home last night, when I got home, and you know, yeah, let's go. You know, I'm gonna have this awesome base, but it didn't work. And I go, oh, fuck, what's going on? Yeah, now it clicked. Yeah, it's all good.
No, that would. Okay.
All right.
So I got a question then. Shoot, I can find it again. I was going to change a sulfide deployer, right? That's the TAC mod, right? Or no?
No, sulfide deployer is a special.
Okay, then the question's answered. Fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's the same question I think that Toxic just had.
Yeah, it is, but it's like, and I thought
different item.
Okay.
Okay.
All good.
What's the best things to put on your advanced lab then? On your labs then?
If you look at explosive overlay, that's the one that I would put on first for your advanced lab and your naval lab. And the other one, and also provides a bonus, I think, with corrosive and concussive. Radioactive does not provide that sort of bonus. Is anybody in the game right now? Because I tried to look at YouTube chat at the same time, figure out what Michigan Marauder is saying about you.
I mean, like the chromium overlay for corrosive building defense and stuff.
Yeah, and as Ren said, both labs die from a fart. But if you keep them in the back, it's at least providing benefit to the rest of your buildings and your turrets. So,
okay.
Radiation. So, why do we care what Ren's eating?
Because he said the labs would die from a fart.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess it's He's up in Canada right now, so I don't know what they're.
He's eating that poutine.
Yeah, Putin would probably do it to you. I don't know. Yes. Okay. Just checking. All right, yeah, we're all filled up. So okay. So nobody has any additional strategies besides that, as far as what their thoughts are and what they're trying to do with their.
Honestly, I haven't had time to do anything yet because I'm still waiting on a refit of something else. So
yeah, I'm kind of stuck in the same position with a couple of things.
It's
I
kind
got another one that's in process of another one of those, not specials, one of the ones that we can use. It'll be done here in a couple of days, and then I got another building that. What is a shipbuilding and something else building that I got to wait for?
No, shipbuilding shouldn't hurt you.
Not shipbuilding, research. I got a couple of different researches going. One's for some sort of a Gatling gun, and then another one's for one of those. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. One of the ones that you put on that we were just talking about, not the specials, but the. I got one that's. Yeah, I got one that's researching. Yeah, I got one. I got another one that's researching. It's supposed to be done.
The portal traps.
Here. Well, I have it too. I have it. I have the portable trap already done. It's one of the other ones. I'm not at my computer, so I can't look at it. I'm
just trying to think what you would research at this point in time. I'm at a loss to figure out what you'd be researching right now that is a tactical module.
How many ice cubes was that, Hefe?
I actually have one big ice cube. I do, but whatever. It has a different effect than a bunch of little ice cubes. It's a whole dilution issue.
Mm-hmm.
Name the sound.
Yeah, that's a good topic for the after show.
If you go with some a few stainless steel ball bearings, you could freeze them up and put them in, and then there'd be no dilution.
That's true. Or you get some
those little plastic ices. The little plastic balls that.
After show.
Nah.
Yeah, they sell them all over the place. It's like
when Daniel starts talking about balls, it's time to after show.
Yeah, steel balls. Yeah. Hey, Ren, how are you doing?
Hey, good, you?
Pretty good. White North. Hello?
We're here.
We're still here.
I was just asking him how things were up in the Great White North, but I guess he.
Oh, no, I just probably cut the sound. No, it's all good. I mean, had a good day today, sunny, almost warm.
Okay. All right. So did you have a particular strategy on the on what's going on? Because I know I've got a lot of Facebook messages from angry base hitter coiners that are like, "Oh, I'm quitting again," because they're making they're changing it so I can get hit again and whatnot.
Oh, but you know what? It's a good change. I don't care if people are mad about it. Base hitting was dead. Last bounty, we couldn't get in any decent base. Like, everybody turned to PvE.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Well,
No, I agree. I think it was a good decision.
It was necessary. I don't know if there was a better solution than what they came up with, but whatever. Yeah, now people start hitting bases again, and, doesn't mean you're going to get and just waltz into any base with any ship. It's still hard. It's just not impossible anymore.
Yeah. I like the idea. They either did it too slowly or too quickly. They either should have done this a long time ago once they saw the issue, right before they released the King's Writ. But
here's the thing. Maybe the people who were in charge of that didn't see the issue, and maybe somebody new saw the issue and decided to change things. I don't know.
But then on the backside, they did it too quickly. I think that the fact that they didn't I think they would have changed it right away before they did the King's Writ, and everybody made all that effort, and people coined this stuff. Yeah, that would have been nice if they did it at that point, or they let everybody know 2 weeks before they made that change.
I think the main mistake.
Adjust.
I think the main mistake they made was not giving anybody a heads up. Although if they gave a heads up, everybody would be up in arms. But anyways, when you throw that out there and you say, hey, now you have 2 weeks of free tech mod refits, and some people are like, oh, I started an 18-day turret equipment, like a Cannibal Wendigo or whatever, a week ago, and now I have 9 days to go. So by the time I'm done, it's going to be bounty, and so my base is always going to be flat. So in the end, it's like, how are you ever going to actually take advantage of those 2 weeks? I don't know. So either should have been 3 weeks, which is above whatever they have as normal equipment time now for these newer turrets, or they should have just released a 7-day structured token to everybody.
Yeah.
Or 2,
So I'm still wondering. I asked this on the last show, and I know none of us probably have the answer, but it's just that thought. It's like, why don't they adjust the ships now that they've adjusted the base. Why can't they adjust the ships too? Right? To kind of bring everything back down to like this
an even balance.
Yeah, instead of having the ships that are still really powerful now and they've just brought our bases down, you know, why not bring the base hitters, you know, down? I mean, to numbers that are kind of understandable, because right now they're in the hundreds of thousands of deflection.
Because I think the problem then becomes, you know, a few players figured that out, that you can surround the turret by 9, 10, 12, 15 fields, I don't know. And then next time they release a more powerful turret for an escalation, now you got to apply all these bonuses times 9, 10, 12, 15 to every new turret. But not everybody does that. So the guys who do a more conventional design are screwed and their farms. And the guys who do unnatural things like surrounding 2 turrets by 15 buildings are unbeatable. Again, I think there would be other solutions. I'm just thinking, you know.
Well, I still think those people who weren't doing the unconventional thing are still going to be farms, even at this point, because they don't understand the little things they need to do, you know, to keep people out of their base. And I mean, it's not hard to get your fleet into those bases when you have these overpowered holes. You see what I'm saying? Like the King's Writ, the Boulder Fist. And yeah, people can keep them out, but there's a much better chance of you getting in now with those fleets than there was before.
Yeah, and remember, you're talking about tier 6, 6.5 conquerors. Now, these tier 7 will start rolling out next week on Bounty, if it's next week, I think it is. And they're going to be crazy. I bet they're going to be crazy.
The creep is just getting too fast, too quickly.
Yeah, so, and we know that they have to, the tier 7 ships are going to have to be more powerful than the 6.5s. And we see where the 6.5s are now.
Yeah, so you're talking about stuff with 400,000 deflection against whatever. So I don't know where tier 7 is going to be, but it's got to be crazy.
And we don't have anything like that as far as our base defense. There's nothing that puts out that kind of power, not even the new turrets that they've given us.
Oh, the Omega weapons are pretty close, but it's the one thing.
Yeah, it's one thing, and it's fairly easily countered.
Yeah.
Hey, Ren, wouldn't it make sense to change, like, the King's Wit to a level 7 ship instead of a level 6?
Oh, isn't it a 6.5 or something?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, if I remember correctly. But if they just go ahead and rank it up to the higher level, which is maybe that would help slow down the creep.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You know what? We'll see what their PvP plans are next week. Raycon's going to join us in the show there, and he's going to present his plan. Then we'll have a lot more information even before the first hull comes out. But right now, I'm just expecting it's going to be a beast. Given the kind of swings they've been doing with the power, right? I just think it's going to be a beast.
Well, and why couldn't they bring down the build time of our turrets? Since they've kind of nerfed them in a way, why not bring the build time down so that they're not so crazy long?
Good point.
They actually need to rebalance a lot of the build times, because I was looking at, you know, like, people were starting to build the Highlander nuclear cruiser. I had a couple other people trying to build the hell is the flag for the Ironclad, the Holox Ironclad. And some of the, like, these are old ass hulls, and they have outrageous build times. I mean, come on, we have the new set of hulls out. The people that are going to be using this are not going to be the ones that are going to coin friggin', you know, 3 weeks of build time.
3 weeks for a Harlock Ironclad, right? That's a joke.
Yeah, what the hell?
They have outrageous build times, and they have outrageous repair times.
That's the worst. Yeah.
Especially the Reaver ships, the Reaver hulls.
Well, and the thing is, the specialists, they don't apply to the flagships, right? So, I mean, even if they want us to research for another 20 days, I'd like to see specialists for the flagships.
Not only that though, but I mean, with the amount of repair time that's coming up, I mean, I understand that they balance this shit for the raid. The raid is their moneymaker, right? You got to have a lot of repair time, blah blah. When the raid's done, either retune the repair times or retune the map targets, because I'm taking raid damage on a hull with raid hit points at twice the repair time now. For a chore. That's not fun. I'm not going to enjoy that.
Are you letting Liam drive your ships?
I'm just talking in general. When you do a TLC, same targets as in the raid, if not harder, but you don't got half repair time. You want to do VXP weekend? I mean, have you seen how much a Buccaneer fleet costs to repair?
Yeah, I mean, that's an issue I brought up for a long time, is the fact that they because it's so gameable as far as the raid goes. Why do we see this increase in repair efficiency, a back up to 0.8, that we had 0.5 and we had 0.4 before, and now anything outside of their raid target, it's vulnerable and it's very expensive through time or coin to repair. You know, brought it up as far as VXP weekend, getting sniped, a lot of these things. Why don't they keep these repair efficiencies more consistent, like half of what we have now? Because that's what we're used to seeing. Now we're back up to 0.8, and we're seeing this on VXP weekend, and we see it. Just hope nobody snipes your Hydras or Buccaneers, because they're going to die real quickly, and they're going to take forever to repair. Hello?
Oh. Yeah, we're still here. I muted Holf because the noise was getting to me.
I see.
That's why it sounded like it got all quiet.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm still not, Host, like, he likes to go to Sonic and get certain things, but I'm not sure what was going on. So, Host, it did remove a level of background noise. I'm not sure what's going on. Sometimes it's a fan, or sometimes it's something else in there that's picking up background noise. But I was agreeing with you, George. They just, why do they need to have the repair efficiency so high on the siege targets, the siege hulls, which don't have any ability to defend themselves besides the raid targets, and they can screw with the damage however they choose in that target. But once it gets outside of that target, it's the same rules as that work for the rest of the world. It's difficult. So maybe we lost George as well. You there, George?
No, I am.
Okay.
I'm filling out paperwork. That's all. Sorry.
All right. No problem. But yeah, I mean, that's an issue that we've seen for a while, and it's the same repair efficiency that we saw with the Cannoneers. Why do they not learn from their mistakes? And the answer is people aren't around long enough to learn from their mistakes. The people that are making these decisions weren't there last time we had a siege raid and saw the problems and the complaints that the players had.
And talking about learning from mistakes, Jeff, there was a mistake they made a year ago in the siege raid when they released the Cannoneer a month before without the weapon. Remember that?
Yeah, and you had to pay for the weapon.
Hail Mary, TLOs, and all that kind of crap to get, and everybody had to refit because without the weapon, the Cannoneers simply could not do the raid, right? So, I feel like in a way they did the exact same thing, releasing the Hydra without the CICs. So we had a TLC, we could get the Hydra, the special, and the weapon, but not the CICs. And the CICs are a big modifier in the behavior of the ship, in my opinion.
True.
Which causes people, again, I mean, now people, oh, okay, with that CIC, maybe I should change a special. Maybe I should change an armor. Maybe I should, you put one CIC or the other, and now your choices for armors and specials change. So I think that another mistake that they're making all over again.
Yeah, and I think they doubled the mistake, because I don't think the normal player base likes the skill hull where they can try and get away with minimizing damage or eliminating damage. And now they release the I don't know. Have we come up with good names for these things? I call them the beer hull and the Adderall hull, or the Blitz hull and the skill hull. I'm not sure where we are as far as what the common thing is to say at this point. But if you
in this raid, like, it's different because you could actually make those Hydras into Blitz hulls by just adding the Aegis, having all of them have the Aegis CIC. So I'm guessing it's just two different hulls at this time.
But that's what I'm saying, right? I mean, the Hydra with the Aegis CIC, it's a completely different ship than the Hydra with the Siege Capacitor CIC. They're totally different.
Yeah. And I think I agree with you. And they've also increased the complexity by making the map targets and the S targets so different, at least for the Buccaneer. I haven't built...
I hope they fix that. I hope they see that that's a problem and they fix that.
Well, it's also a problem for newer players. I mean, players that are just starting, they don't know all the... I mean, the more complex they make it, the more people are looking at it and going, oh my God, I got to learn all these freaking rules in order to play this game well. It turns a lot of people on where they just want to get on and play and be done.
I think
it's turned into much more of a major strategy game than it is just to get on and play for an hour or two.
So look back at maybe our FM targets, how those have evolved over time, and how some of those they behave differently. You have ones where you can shoot down certain projectiles that you can't in other targets. There's a lot of...
don't get me up. Don't get it. That's a whole... we could have a whole show on that. The fact
Bucket of worms?
The fact that they change the mechanism depending on the target. I mean, the FM targets have one mechanism, while the Garrison TLCs have a different mechanism. That's just it's not right in my mind, the way that they're doing it.
It's dirty. It's underhanded. It's a dirty way of getting money, because either you tune for FM or you tune for TLC. So either way, you take damage, or you have 3 fleets like I do, which is crazy.
You have 3 Garrison fleets now?
Yeah, I had, because during the raid, I mean, I think they screwed up so much during that cycle, and they ended up giving so many tokens for everything that, like, my whole icebreaker fleet was insta-built over time with tokens. I spent 0 shipyard time, 0 coin on that fleet, just tokens. Right? So originally my fleet for the raid were the Zamps, but over time with tokens I got monos, I got IBs. Now I have 3 fleet. I mean, anybody today could do that. If you don't have icebreakers or you don't have monos, you could just be doing tier 3 and 4 of FM over each week. In a few weeks you'd have another fleet, and you could have them tuned a different way. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it takes time, but you could do it. 0 shipyard time.
Well, and what made me think about that was someone was doing the FM, they were hitting really low targets for the fleet that they had. And I'm like, why are you hitting this target? And they're like, well, I take a lot of damage in it, so I don't want to go any higher. And I'm like, but the fleet that you have will easily do the 111s, if not the 115s. But they were having problems in some of the lower level targets, and they didn't want to advance. And it's kind of the same thing that's happening, I think, with the raid. You know, people hit a certain target and their fleet's not really optimized for that target, and they're like, well, I'm not going to go any higher, when in fact they might actually do better in a different target.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, and we have an expert on that on the panel right now, if he wants to speak. All right. G-Daddy. You want to talk about this or no?
Well, you're talking about me there. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Well, yeah. Well, because you hit lower end targets.
I always go with lower targets.
Because you don't think you're going to be able to hit the next level of targets. I think that's what.
Well, I can hit the high targets, but
because you don't try them.
Just gets me less repair, so I can do it all day, all night if I want. I don't work, so I'm at home, retired, and all I can do is, play the game. So there's no point me hitting a big target and then getting 6 hours repair when I can do all day, all night long with no repair at all.
Yeah, it's different. I don't think most players want that in their game because they're probably getting, maybe you take what targets are you hitting in 115 right now? I mean, are you hitting 115?
I'm hitting 115. Yeah, I'm doing 115s now.
But I think the source of the problem there is, like, I remember in the original Garrison raid, my Zamps could do the 80s, no problem. If I took them in a 60, they would be slaughtered, which should be an easier target. So it's not a progression.
And this came up.
A random thing tuned for either this or that. Just like it's a less extreme version of what we see now in the skirmish TLCs, where this target has to be done with fangs, this target has to be done with hunters, and if you go in the wrong fleet, you die instantly, and there's no warning.
And that's a big problem. I agree with that.
I may be wrong here, but on the last raid that we had where we were using fangs, I could do the S targets no problem. I mean, instant repair every single time, all day long, whatever. If I tried to go into the 80s, I would start taking damage. And it wasn't because I didn't know the targets. Like, I went in and I always try to do the different targets and kind of get to know them or whatever, because you're going to see them again in the TLCs. But I would take damage. And I was always like, why am I taking so much damage in an 80 and I'm not taking that in the S target? So I think this disparity was happening then, but it's just kind of amplified itself now.
But and the answer to that, and because I had a chat with GDA about that, and he was just telling me how hard it is, because it's complex, to tune the target for this fleet or that fleet or both fleets. So the 80s are like tuned for both fangs and hunters. So in a way, they're a bit harder for both of them, but they're viable for both of them. Versus the elite for one or the other is 100% tuned to be killed by that fleet. So in the end, you have just what you said, where the 100 for the fang is tuned to be killed by the fang, while the 80s are tuned in between the fang and the hunter, so they feel hard for both, then the respective elite target. And it's a consequence of that specialization, where before, all the targets all the way up would be tuned in between the two fleets.
Well, not a bit different this time, though, Ren, when didn't they tune it into A sets for ballistic and S sets were for radioactive, or other way around? I'm not sure. I didn't do S set or A sets. That's what I heard.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand that either, and that's why I'm saying I hope they fix that, because that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the other thing that we need to get rid of, I mean, I think the main thing that we need to get across is the fact that different mechanics and different targets that look the same is just not right. I mean, you agree with that. We talked about that. We just talked about that, but it's just messed up because it just makes players upset, and
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you there, Jeff. It's like, how each charged armor has a color.
Yeah.
And then they go and in the 80s last raid, the orange fields from the boys there that were dropped by the drones, they were doing radioactive damage. And in the S target for the bucket was doing ballistic damage. And but still both were the same color. In my mind, they should match the color of their charged armor. So that tells the player something. Oh, that ring is ballistic, that ring is radioactive,
But you know where they came from. That was the Ferox Fury that was just sitting still. Take a look at the Ferox Fury. It's the same thing that was. It's that field from the Ferox Fury. It's graphically the same.
No, really?
It just, yeah. But that was doing what, corrosive damage? I never built
it's corrosive.
It was supposed to be radioactive, though, wasn't it? We've got all
think it was
sorts of
corrosive.
damage going in targets now. You don't know what to build anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what. No, we don't know what to build on certain parts of the game.
They're sending missiles that look like mortars with explosive damage in assault targets. And
Yeah,
stuff.
That's one of the things I'm discussing is the fact that right now, I mean, normally, if you mix phalanxes and sprints, because of I'm not sure how much we want to talk about this, but the sprints have a lower accuracy and whatnot, that you would want to put them on different ships, use different specials and whatnot. But in these raid targets, they act differently. They don't act the same as they used to, and it's like it feels, dirty or underhanded, whatever. That the fact that these things are so.
It sounds like you're getting off the subway.
Is that someone flushing or getting off the subway? Exactly.
No, Ed's starting up his truck.
Okay.
Am I making noise now, or I can't remember what?
Yeah, you're still. I'm going to mute you. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fact that on different targets the mechanisms change. If you can, I'm sorry. Somebody else can go. These things throw me off with all the noise in the background.
This goes back to before with the previous raid when we had the gluts shooting what looked like missiles, but ended up needing an anti-mort to take them out. And so they've kind of changed that around with this raid. And with all of us who are on the show or who watch the shows, we kind of get that and we go, oh, hey, the testers say this isn't what this is, use a different thing. But we have all these people that play the game kind of casually that have no idea what they're supposed to be putting on their ships to counteract these weapons, because they look at it and they go, well, that looks like a mortar, I'm going to put a gale on, and it's I think causing a lot of problems, and I don't know why they want to be so underhanded with that. Like, why not make it look like a missile? Why not make it look like a rocket? Like,
the thing what I meant is, like, there's 4 different raids last year, right? There's now 3 different raids. They've got like assault, siege, and you know what I'm on about anyway. In each target there's different damages, and in 3 of them there's mortars, in 1 of them there's missiles, right? They can use anti-mortars, anti-missiles in there. We can use that for them. We don't need to have anti-mortars or anti-missiles in ballistic targets. It's not used. We shouldn't have to use it. It's just taking away one of our weapon slots, really. It's unfair. That's what I was talking about. Having a missile that turns into a rocket with ballistic damage or radioactive damage doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I don't want it in the target. It's not fair. That's what I was saying. We've got 3 different raids where we can use anti-mortars and anti-missiles on the ships. then in that case, they should give us more weapon slots. But the, you know, like 10 weapon slots is decent enough. But anyway, that's my gripe.
Well, yeah, they've taken it from so you look at a siege target, it's supposed to be ballistic and radioactive damage, which is what those weapons are putting out, but they don't look like those weapons. They look like other types of weapons that we're accustomed to. So, you know, maybe someone who doesn't watch the shows, they go in and they hit a target and they see this thing flying at them and they're like, well, that looks like a mortar. So I'm going to put, you know, a Gale on my ship.
Yeah, I did get 4 or 5 messages on YouTube or at Facebook. People say, oh, should I have pen armor on my ships? Because I saw missiles firing from those turrets.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, and then you got to explain, no, you don't.
And to us,
but it's a perfectly normal reaction, right? I don't mind the fact we need countermeasures on a siege target. That actually makes it different, interesting. It's the first time. Oh, look, something new, right? But the whole thing about one thing that looks like something, but it's not that something.
Exactly.
That throws everybody off, and that's just not a clean thing to do.
Well,
we started in the mega hull raids, and we had turrets looking like those concussive we had in our base, but they were corrosive. That was the first time.
It looks like a missile or it looks like a mortar, and you have to use an anti-missile or anti-mortar, but it's ballistic or radioactive damage. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, they have other graphics. If they wanted to go cheap and just reuse stuff, I mean, they could have done so those turrets were throwers, you know, because everybody knows that thrower is radioactive. So, okay.
Radioactive, yeah, exactly.
And I mean, the art department did a great job, so I couldn't, you know. So, you know, someone somewhere along the line said, we want them to look like a mortar. We want them to look like a missile. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone made that decision. And it's very underhanded to, I guess, the casual players. I mean, for us that, you know, we're a little bit more into the game, we figure it out, we adapt, whatever. But to a lot of other people, you know, I mean, to myself, refitting when you've made a bad mistake, that's a costly mistake on your side.
And by the way, just you know, I believe Kix thinks, I don't agree, but I think they think that by having the little dialog box saying, oh, here's the weakness of this target and here's the damage it deals, that solves the problem. But who actually looks at that screen? I mean, I disabled it a long time ago.
I must admit,
well, when you
know the screen I'm talking about?
Yeah, when you click on info, little info. Yeah, it tells you the explosive.
So in theory, the casual player should click on that and says, oh, it's ballistic and radioactive. You know, but then there's the conspiracy theory because we don't trust Kix's eye. So say, oh, is it really? Because that looks like a missile.
Well, it's like, for example, in your assault targets, there's that stupid cheese ball and you need an anti-mortar. Why should you have an anti-mortar in an assault target? You know, on your ship, why should you? But an anti-mortar shoots that cheese ball out.
Yeah, they randomly throw those types of things in there, and it's frustrating, especially like, you know, again, I keep going back to casual players, but when you have casual players in your alliance and stuff, and you're trying to explain to them like, hey, this is what you need. Well, why? And you tell them, and they're like, what? Like, you know, I don't get that. Like, it looks like a mortar, or it looks like a missile, or this looks like it's corrosive, you know?
But in that target, it's supposed to be ballistic and radioactive. Yeah, but you need an anti-mortar or an anti-missile on your bloody ship. Will you listen? Yeah, all right, okay, why? Because it fires like a missile.
But where does that make any sense, really? Like, in the whole scheme of things? Like,
it's just basically that what they're doing is they're breaking their own rules. That's what they do in this game. They break their own rules. We can't have holes in as bases, for an example. We can't have as island meeting up into a square. But you go into their bases, there's holes all over the place. I want to know when we're getting them stones we had in last raid. I want some of them stones in my base so I don't have to build as many land tiles all over the place. I can put a big stone there and then I can add some wall tiles after it. I want to make my base bigger. But you can't because you've only got a certain amount of land tiles. I know we're at full footprint now and that's good enough. You know, it would an enlarged base now that you can have. But why should they be able to have stones, but we can't? It wasn't long before I said, oh, I won't mind them gates in our thing, and they brought them out. Them gates like what we've got now, portals, they're not the same as theirs, but they're similar. They work on a similar sort of scale. I want everything that they've got. Okay, it might be a few months in advance of us, but in every game I've played, you have to work your way up to what they've got. They're always one level above you, but you always get what they get in every game I've played. So when are we getting the stones? That's what I want to know. The stone-looking building things, what they had in the raid this time.
You just made me think, and my brain's going kind of a left turn here, but I was looking at the prices in the FM, and I saw the new hydraulic resistors with the different types of resistance.
Yeah.
I don't know if we.
By the way, right there, sorry for interrupting you, but right there we have a problem, and I was struggling to say the same because they're not hydraulic resistors, because the hydraulic resistor gives concussive, and these guys are not radioactive and ballistic resistors. So honestly, could be as simple as just Kixeye renaming their hydraulic resistor to concussive resistor now, so it makes sense.
It is, yeah. It's basically just a lazy part on art department's design, isn't it? It's just another version of an hydraulic resistor, but with a different name.
Well, I mean, the hydraulic resistor was speed plus resistance. So they did the same thing. It's just a different resistance.
Right.
So now they should rename that one to say concussive resistor.
Yep.
So my question was, do you think on ships that are going to be hitting the S targets, do these things make sense?
Yeah, every little bit of resistance helps. I mean, that's what PV is designed around, is resistances.
So even losing your speed,
it's like a two speed difference, is it not?
Yeah, it's a minimal loss of speed.
Yeah, but people need to be mindful of that, because if people manage to get, let's say, 2 of them or 3 of them before the next raid, and you refit 2 ships, and the other 2, by the way, had speed 6, now your fleet won't move together anymore. And you want to bet not everyone's going to see that?
No, but the thing is, I don't know that 2 speed is that much of a difference, because I actually tuned a fleet specifically like that, and I found that in some instances, 2 wasn't enough to get a separation between that I was trying to build for. It's not as bad unless you're doing long distances and not stopping.
Even on auto, like you're trying to tune your stuff for?
I was actually no, I was tuning it for different things. Yes.
So
yeah, and in all honesty, if I have something that can go in front, that's a tank, then yeah, I would want, like I built the hunters to have the Apex go ahead of everything else on purpose.
Yeah, I'm just thinking with the splash associated with whatever the name of the rocket thing that does radioactive damage. That on the back end, because I noticed that people were taking more damage that had used Cannon System 4 instead of Nuke Accelerator, that they were taking significantly more damage because they were lagging behind. Because it seemed to be built for that. But I could be wrong. I have Nuke Accelerator on mine, but that loss of that speed seemed to be significant for them.
I mean, the thing is that we're so uncertain of what the bloody targets are going to be and what's going on going into the next raid. I mean, we just finished a raid that everyone was completely friggin' taken aback with. Totally unexpected things that happened and we found in the raid. And then we're still, I mean, hell, we're still waiting to find out about Siege Battery, for crying out loud. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Are these supposed to be like hydraulic resistors then? They do bonus combat speed, turn speed, map speed, don't they? They do evade bonus, and this one that I'm looking at, the radioactive.
There's Speed System 5 with a 15% bonus on all of them. That's all it is.
On evade,
it's nothing. Look at Speed System 5 and then add 15%, whatever flavor resistant you want, and that's what it is.
And
it's nothing special. beyond that. It's Speed System 5 with a resistance of plus 15.
So it's just like
There's
another
nothing-
engine, really, then.
Besides the plus 15 resistance. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
only difference.
So in actual fact, if you put like the radioactive defense one on the, let's say the S target, if it does more radioactive damage, it's going to be better in an S target, and the ballistic one's going to be better in an A set. Just for an example.
We don't know that because we don't know what because I think everybody probably drove these with Speed System 6, which is a little bit faster and avoided some of the damage.
Right.
And, are you going to be able to outrun some of that damage with losing the 2 combat speed? I have no idea. I gotta admit, I have no idea.
And how,
I think that's what George is getting at. We don't know these targets well enough because there appears to be hidden things behind mirrors and whatnot that are going on, and the fact that
Well, part of it is in order to make this decision, you kind of have to have an idea of what's going on in the target, because you have to decide, are you going to mitigate more damage with higher resistance or with more speed? And that's a decision that you have to make when you design something. But to design it, you need to know the target.
Has anyone done the math to know what improvement in resistance you get, like once you've stacked all of your fleet together? And
that depends completely on your build. It's like, I mean, in some of the builds that I was messing around with it was, like 0.2%. Some of them, it was like,
but it's still 15%.
Yeah. The base value is a 15%. Yes.
No, but you're still taking 15% less damage based on that. Well, not including charged armors and whatnot. You're still taking compared to if you didn't have it on. If you had Speed System 5, you're taking 15% less damage of that type. So there's no, the math is done. The math is easy on that one.
So, I mean, would it make sense to wait until maybe the 3rd raid, to have those on your ships if you're still building those ships? Or do you want to get those on immediately?
Question is, though, if you are going to put this on, what other special are you going to take off?
No, I think the question is, we don't know the targets because this target that we saw was messed up. And we don't know what the next target is going to look like.
Well, the thing is, we don't know that the target was messed up, but we know that other things were messed up, Siege Battery and STS. So we don't know that the target was messed up itself. Like, that might actually be the target that we see next month too. Who the hell knows? But the catch is you have the entirety of the community in this uncertain state. And you know what happens when a customer is uncertain about something? They're not going to make a purchase. This is really simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to illustrate what George just said, I've made a decision, and I've been pinged again by a lot of people asking me about my Hydra build. I don't have one. I'm going to build my Buckies, and I'm going to stick with them for the next month. I won't have Hydras because there's going to be, that's how I see the whole thing. There's going to be a lot of dicking around with the targets. And then there's going to be, I don't know, more CICs, escalation weapons, different specials, you name it. Just like we just saw on FM now. Oh, look at that, radioactive resistor. You know what? I'm going to struggle and refit and try with the Buckies. And I'm going to wait until the 3rd month to have my Hydras. That's when I'm going to have my Hydras.
You know what? I don't even know if I'm going to have them by then, because I am also betting on the Buckies, and I'm betting on an S target build, right? And we have all the stuff coming out, so I'm going to be refitting. Somewhere in between, I'm going to try and get at least the hulls for the Hydra out, but then in March we have the garrison change. And I already have stuff that's coming out in the FM now that I want to fit. So what the heck? Where am I going to find the time to build both of the fleets that they seem to want to force us to?
George, on the Hydra, I mean, the Hydra came on a TLC. The TLC came with those stupid random chests that have tokens.
Oh, yeah.
But stupid or not, if I'm not going to build the Hydras right now, I might as well just wait and build them with tokens as I do that, because I bet that TLC is going to keep coming every month.
And that's why I'm trying to build. I'm just going to build the blank hulls when I can, and that's it. Because by the time we're not even going to have enough charged armor by the last raid to fit 2 fleets. I mean, we're going to literally have 20 pieces of armor after the last raid.
Yeah,
How the hell does that work?
Yeah.
I mean, how does that work? Or are they going to go, okay, well, the last raid, we're going to give you, a chance at 10 this time. That's still the 4th raid. It's the last raid in the set. So now I'm not even building for the raid. I'm building for fucking chores.
I think they're going to release more of those radioactive armors eventually.
You got 3 months of TLCs to come yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll add it into defensive arts. Any new charged armor? You know what they should do with that defensive arts? Every time they bring it out, they should put the recent raid that we're on at the top, so you've got a chance to win it.
Yeah, but my whole point is things are so uncertain and so confusing and so messed up that I have absolutely zero incentive to build both fleets. That's sort of the point that George started talking about, and I'm just in full agreement, because when the Skyfires and Phoenixes came out, things were pretty well defined that I went for both. Yeah. Now I have zero comfort I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, last raid cycle with the Fangtooth and the Hunters, I built my Fangtooths, and then I waited. I just built blank Hunters, and then put the Wolf's Tooth on them. And that's what I'm planning to do with the Hydra. Wait for the escalation weapon.
Yeah, that's way smarter.
That way you don't have to take them off.
Yeah, I'll wait for the escalation weapon. I'll wait for more charged armor. I'll wait for whatever other crazy component they're going to make available here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the way I'm going to do it. But it was interesting last week. Around, I was in a sector with somebody that was, I think he recognized me from like 2 or 3 years ago, and he's like, "Where is the rest of everybody? Where's the rest of your people?" Because he was so interested in, like, he really enjoyed. He really enjoyed the alliance that went in, killed all the bases, and then told everybody how to fix their bases.
That's were what you used to do back in the day. You're right.
Yeah. And they were like, "Where is everybody?" And I'm like, I think Dead Center is the only one left besides myself from that group that would just go in, kill bases, talk crap, and then tell them, we would talk to them on, we would talk to them in the messenger as far as like, okay, this is how you need to fix your base.
Well, that's how that's how I started using the whole base clinic terminology, because I would literally say, I'm going to give you a base clinic, and I would hit their base, set their base, and then tell them 3 things to improve.
Yeah. I mean,
that's back when I was a good hitter, right? And I had the tech and other kind of stuff with MCX and battleships and DNX and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you realize what they've done with this FM now, though? They've actually made tier 5 10 million points, which is like 33.5 115s to do.
Yep. Somebody was talking about the casual player playing an hour or 2 a day. Nowadays, you barely get FM done in that. There's no room in this game anymore for a casual player.
No, not anymore.
Hefe, did you get to the bottom of that drink or what?
No, I still got the big. I still got the big ice cube. I told you, I have one big ice cube. Yeah.
Sound like you're sucking the glass out of the bottom of the glass.
I'm not even. I'm just stirring it. It's weird stirring with one big ice cube.
He's just drinking his ice cube now.
Yeah.
Can I break my dice out?
Yeah.
Oh well, just don't start snoring again.
I'm trying.
Rum's been quiet tonight. I've been worried about Rum.
Rum's here.
Yeah.
No, very quiet. He must be hunting rabbits.
Yeah. Since he joined SDS 7, he doesn't talk as much. George still keeps on talking, but
George's not tagged.
What?
Is he?
George doesn't what?
He doesn't have a tag anymore, does he?
Last I looked, he was SDS 7. I don't know. But yeah. No, Rum's not talking as much. I don't know why, but Is there any reason you started talking less, Rum?
No, you guys just have such good stuff to say. So, I mean,
Okay.
no reason for me to double up on it. I mean,
Okay.
that way,
It is.
everybody else has plenty of time to talk.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, I found that amusing because Ren, because it was like, where'd all those people go? Because it was it was like your base clinic. It was sort of like, we're gonna go in and and we would hit what was that one sector? It was like 173, 170. There was one that was really hated us, but we kept on going in, and they would they hated us, and they hated us, and they would they said that we were going to get us banned and all that kind of stuff that people that are getting hit do. But it was like, it was I don't know. Never mind. I'm just back in the day, I do remember things.
Well, it's not even that far back, Jeff. I mean, within the last couple of years, I've been in like 3 or 4 different alliances, and everything goes along good. We're having fun, and then pretty soon, everybody, individuals are just getting tired of the stuff, and they say, "I've had enough," and the alliance basically dissolves.
Yeah, no, I'm more talking about the fact that the mechanism that was going on there, that it was Gixxer and Powder and a lot of other players. They would just go out and just we would at that point move from sector to sector, and we would hit all the level all the bases in the sector, but we wouldn't we wouldn't be mean to them. We would just tell them how to fix their bases, and it was it's sort of like the show without hitting your base. Like you're trying to help people play the game. I don't know. It's just that's just me thinking about it, but whatever.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what Kick's gonna do. It's never gonna come back, and it's never gonna be like that again. Even if they were to say we're gonna reset this back 3 years, it's not gonna be the way it was, and it never will be.
And to me, the main reason it's never going to be the same is because now the game is so prescriptive, right? Oh, this class, that class, this component only goes on this class, this weapon goes on that class. It's also segmented, and there's pretty much we're probably 2 or 3 steps away from just winning pre-built ships in events.
Well, Snowman wanted that, right? You remember that? He kept them pushing. I mean, he kept them pushing for
them just removing our ability to choose what we want on the ships. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's all because they're bringing out all this new crap. Like then it was you'd get a hull, and maybe you get a weapon, and then the next raid you'd get a turret, and then you'd get a special, and now you get a hull, 2-3 hulls every raid. You get weapons in the FM, you get specials in the FM, you get specials in the raid. There's TLCs with hulls and weapons. There's so much stuff that they can't control it anymore.
Yeah, it's more. It's all you said, and on top of that is like one single ship now has 6 freaking specials, and you got to combine them all in an optimum way. Back in the day when it was really fun, it was like 2 or 3 per ship.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Specials. I mean, it's a lot. Speed, resistance, attack, go.
Yeah. I mean, because like what Seawolves have like 2. No, Seawolves was the first one with 3. Yeah, it was. Yeah. That was, before that you had the floating fortresses with 2, and a lot of, the game designer, they didn't want to move it past 3 or 4. They thought was
the Dreadnought was a beast because it had 4, but it was the only one for I think 2 years. Even the MCX came after the Dreadnought and had only 3. All ships had 3. Thrashers had 3, but then the Dreadnought and the DNX had 4. Were the only ones.
Yeah, well, don't talk about Thrashers. Thrashers lasted for like a week, but yeah.
Yeah, I coined 2 of them, and I was really pissed after that. That's when, no, actually, I did that once, got burned. I did that again when the Hell Strikes came out, and I coined 2 of them or 3, and never again. I coined the whole fleet like that ever. Just got burned.
No, I just never. I don't know. I had never actually built either one of those. I built one Hellstrike with one weapon that I recycled. I may still have it in my base, but yeah, I never built a single thresher, to be honest. So, but I don't know. Trying to think of anything else that we can say that's productive at this point. We've been going on for an hour and a half. Is there anything from chat that besides the fact that people miss Blackwater, especially Michigan Marauder and whatnot?
I've got a subject for you. What about these limited turrets that they're bringing out, like the Cannibal Wendigo and the Elite Countermeasure turrets? Are they worth putting on your base or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. As opposed to what are you putting in your base now?
Well, I've got all like Adder Strike, Glacial Turret, Cold Snap.
I have to say, I just finished recently the 3rd of those limited countermeasure turrets. They're beasts. I mean, they shut down sloths. They just shut down mortar and missile ships.
Right, I've got 2, so I'm just wondering whether to refit them or not. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm actually holding off because I have tokens for the Omni and some of these ships. I'm waiting for the tier 7 to figure out, is that going to be a missile ship? What is it going to be, to figure out if I can put antis or whatnot on my
tier 7 ships. They're going to fire sharks with lasers on the water.
Yeah, I mean, I was happy to find Piranha 3D on Netflix because that's I don't know if has anybody else watched that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's if you like the show, you might don't Google it from work, but Piranha is an interesting movie.
It's triple D. It's triple D. Piranha triple D.
Yeah. Well, I was disappointed when Gianna Michaels got eaten by the piranhas.
That was awesome. That was actually a great, the effects were great because it really looked like she got eaten by the piranhas.
Yeah. When she was, what do you even call that? It's not even wind sailing. It's she had like some sort of parachute thing and
parasailing. That's parasailing.
Yeah, she's parasailing.
Paragliding, parasailing, something like that.
Yeah.
And so she did have her flotation devices with her. She was.
Oh yeah, she never goes
safe.
Never goes out without them. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, we know that sharks with lasers are not very effective because anyone that's seen Austin Powers knows that they don't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Only if you have the right mojo.
Yeah, and I accidentally watched. Was that yesterday or today? I actually watched Avalanche Sharks. Has anybody seen that?
No.
Okay, there's not the level of nudity as Piranha, but it was just campy. Yeah, sharks that are swimming through because they got pissed off by people setting off avalanches, and so the sharks were going through the snow and killing people on spring break.
The snow?
Yes, it was.
Snow's water, right?
Are these like CG sharks or whatever? Like they're
real life trained sharks.
But I mean, are they so bad? It's just like really bad graphics. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Is it like the Revenge of the Killer Tomatoes? Is that what you're talking about?
The worst thing about the Revenge of the Killer Tomatoes, you can actually see George Clooney in that movie when he was like 20.
I didn't know that. There you go. See, learned something new again.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, it was bad CGI. Yeah. And mostly the issue was you would see the fin going through the snow, and then all of a sudden it would eat somebody. But yeah, it was not something I would recommend, but I watched it. So
You tortured yourself so we wouldn't have to go through it. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. John's talking about the Sharknado. Yeah, it's not as high budget as Sharknado. Sharknado was a high budget movie relative to Avalanche Sharks. And I've seen Toxic Shark. Oh, and Damn Sharks. Has anybody seen that one? Damn Sharks was just. Was somebody giggling because they saw it? Where the sharks would actually take people and create a dam. They were killing people and they were creating a dam out of them like beavers and just lining up bodies. Oh yeah. This is there's all sorts of interesting things you can find on the Sci-Fi Channel.
No, I was laughing because I did a Google search for shark movies. Yeah. And Snow Sharks was there, but there's also one called Snow Shark without the S. And then there's Sharktopus versus Terracuda.
Oh, I've seen that one. That's special.
Zombie Shark.
Zombie Shark is good. Oh, I also saw the one with the zombie. Oh, what is it? The zombie beavers. What's that one?
Zombievers.
Yeah, that's not Zombievers. I've seen that one as well.
That movie was terrible.
It was awful. She had nice tits though, right?
Not even in the good way. Like it was just bad.
Yeah. Bad. It was awful. Yeah. But yeah.
So I think we're into after show territory.
Yeah, that's probably pretty true. No, not that I'm recommending any of these for, especially the younger viewers.
In the after show, Hefe is going to tell us how to sous vide a shark.
I would have never actually sous vide a shark, but I mean I've cooked small sand sharks, and that was outstanding. But yeah, sous videing a shark I've never done, but grilling a shark, yeah, I've done. But yeah, I guess we should go to the after show, unless anybody has anything else to say.
Yeah, I asked in chat if anyone wanted anything, and all they're talking about is their specs on their computer. So I'm assuming no.
Okay. And lemon shark, lemon sharks don't taste like lemons. So,
and Mike's talking about Becker.
Yeah, well, that can end well. Alrighty, folks. Well, let's see you at another time, either Wednesday or next Friday, unless we have a special show. And I wish you well with VXP weekend, and play around with your tact mods in your base, because that's going to help you. I mean, just experiment with them. So
cool.